The Galactic Council's xenoarchaeologist, Dr. Zethvar, had spent 3 cycles studying the peculiar human war archives discovered on Earth's moon. The crystalline data cores contained millions of tactical records, battle strategies, and historical accounts, all written in what appeared to be High Veltaran, a language that had been dead for over 50,000 years. Standing before the assembled council, Dr. Zethvar's 4 eyes blinked in nervous succession. Honored counselors, these findings are unprecedented. The humans have somehow preserved our most ancient military texts in their original form. Council Speaker Mordoun leaned forward, her translucent wings catching the chamber's bioluminescent glow. Explain the significance, Dr. Zethvar. Why would a primitive species possess knowledge of the Veltaran Empire's military doctrine? That's just it, Speaker. They don't just possess it, they've improved upon it. Every strategy we thought lost to time is here, refined and enhanced with human tactical innovations. The chamber fell silent except for the gentle hum of life support systems. In the observation deck, a young human liaison named Jihan watched the proceedings with barely contained amusement. She had been assigned to this session specifically for this moment. Dr. Zethvar activated a holographic display showing ancient battle formations. The Veltaran phalanx technique, for instance. Our archaeological records suggest it was a theoretical formation that was never successfully implemented. Yet here the humans have not only mastered it but created 17 variations. Impossible, rumbled Counselor Grixith, his rocky carapace grinding as he shifted. The Veltarans were the greatest military minds in galactic history. How could a species that only achieved spaceflight 2 centuries ago surpass them? Jihan stood up in the observation deck, her movement drawing every eye in the chamber. At 23, she was the youngest human to ever address the Galactic Council. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore the plain gray uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Honored counselors, she said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. May I offer some clarification? Speaker Morden's antennae twitched with curiosity. You may speak, human Jihan. Jihan smiled, and there was something predatory in that expression that made several counselors shift uncomfortably. The archives aren't written in High Veltaran because we learned it from your ancient texts. High Veltaran was based on human tactical language. The chamber erupted in confused chatter. Dr. Zethvar's translator struggled to keep up with the cacophony of alien languages. Silence, Speaker Mordoun commanded. Explain yourself, human. Jihan descended from the observation deck, her footsteps echoing in the sudden quiet. 53,000 years ago, a Veltaran exploration vessel crash-landed on Earth. The survivors, about 200 individuals, were rescued by early human civilizations. They lived among us for 3 generations before their technology allowed them to return to space. She paused at the center of the chamber, surrounded by beings that could crush her without effort, yet showing no fear. During those 3 generations, they learned from us. Human warfare wasn't just about strength or superior technology. It was about adaptation, psychological warfare, and the ability to turn any situation to our advantage. The Veltarans were fascinated by concepts like guerrilla warfare, strategic deception, and what we call controlled chaos. Counselor Grixith's voice rumbled like an earthquake. You're suggesting that the Veltaran Empire's military doctrine was borrowed from humans? Not borrowed, collaborated on. When they returned to their empire, they brought human strategic thinking with them. They formalized our fluid tactics into the rigid doctrine you discovered in your archaeological sites. High Veltaran military terminology is literally human concepts translated into their formal language structure. Dr. Zethvar's datapad clattered to the floor. But the temporal dating, the archaeological evidence, is correct, Jihan confirmed. The Veltarans did develop those strategies 50,000 years ago. With human help. What you found on our moon isn't us copying them, it's us preserving the original collaborative work that your empire formalized and then lost when the Veltarans went extinct. She gestured to the holographic display still showing ancient battle formations. Every technique you thought was pure Veltaran genius has human fingerprints on it. The reason you could never successfully implement many of their theoretical strategies is because they require human unpredictability to work. You've been trying to execute collaborative tactics with only half the equation. Speaker Mordoun's wings fluttered rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. Are you claiming that humanity taught the greatest military empire in galactic history how to wage war? Jihan's smile widened. No, Speaker. I'm claiming we taught them how to think about war. The Veltarans were excellent students. They had the discipline and technology to implement our chaotic strategies on a galactic scale. But they added structure where we relied on improvisation, created doctrine where we preferred flexibility. She walked to the holographic display and manipulated it with practiced ease, showing how the static formations could flow and adapt. This is why human military archives seem so advanced to you. We never stopped innovating. While the galaxy spent 50 millennia studying Veltaran doctrine like it was holy text, we kept developing the underlying principles that made it work. The chamber was dead silent now. The implications were staggering. Jihan looked around at the assembled representatives of dozens of species, each one reassessing everything they thought they knew about human capabilities. The Veltarans fell because they became too rigid, too dependent on doctrine. They forgot the human element that made their strategies work in the first place, the willingness to break your own rules when the situation demands it. She turned back to Speaker Mordun. So yes, our war archives are written in High Veltaran, because that was the language of our collaborative military research project. We've been waiting 50,000 years for the galaxy to be ready to learn the rest of the lesson. Council Speaker Mordun's voice was barely a whisper. What is the rest of the lesson? Jihan's expression grew serious, all trace of amusement gone. That the most dangerous thing about humans isn't our technology, our aggression, or our unpredictability. It's our ability to make anyone we work with better at war than they ever thought possible. The silence stretched on, broken only by the gentle hum of life support systems and the sound of several counselors' rapid breathing. Finally, Dr. Zethvar spoke, his voice shaking. What do you want from us? Jihan's predatory smile returned. The same thing we wanted 53,000 years ago, Doctor. To teach the galaxy how to defend itself against whatever's coming next. As she walked back toward the observation deck, every being in the chamber understood that humanity's integration into galactic society had just taken on an entirely different meaning. They weren't just another species to be cataloged and managed. They were the teachers the galaxy had been waiting for, whether it knew it or not.